Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be our update on our Kaspa solo mining test. Ever since Kaspa went to 10 blocks per second, our biggest question is how it was going to affect mining, specifically the little guys. Would the theory come to fruition? And just to give you a heads up, so far it has, and it is outperforming pool mining quite significantly. It has been only 2 weeks though. But again, the longer we do this test, the better the data, but still overall, it's still looking better. We'll look at the numbers. We'll look at what's going to likely change here, especially in the coming weeks, right? We'll talk about it. We'll give our thoughts. If that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So let's get right to it. Okay, so far it has been exactly 2 weeks since the Crescendo hard fork. We can see our numbers here. Currently, this is one of our worst blocks on our solo efforts, 182%. Average being 57% though. This is where it has been a game changer. Again, we were pool mining up until the 5th, which is when the hard fork came to fruition. Pretty much right as soon as it happened, we went right to solo, right? So our average overall is 57%, which is extremely good. Theoretically, over time, let's say through the span of a month, it should hit 100%. But because of the insane amount of blocks per second, this could potentially be a game changer and something that does change that concept overall. And so far, it does seem to be happening. Okay, just because, again, going to 10 BPS per second, it now gives you 864,000 chances per day of hitting a block. Okay, which is an ridiculous number, right? And this is why it's something that's been very different from anything we've ever seen, right? A lot of them tend to follow Bitcoin where it's like 10-minute blocks. This is completely different and it is going to change things. So far it does seem to be coming to fruition. So we are solo pool mining. We're not truly solo mining, right? We are on a pool. Again, it's just easier to visualize the data, see the data from my son's little KS2 Lite, okay? So let's look at some of the numbers now. As far as effort goes, again, it's been all over the freaking place. Some of the highest, we did have one recently that was 193%, 158%, but then you can see some of these lower ones, 1.18%, 18%, 10%, 2%, 1%. Our best one, we did hit one under 1%, right? So this was back-to-back 14.4 and then 0.83, which is pretty freaking ridiculous, right? So it's definitely a change. Let's continue to look at some of the payouts, and this is where it gets interesting, right? This is the comparison you really want to make as far as whether it's better to be pool mining or solo mining, is look at what you should be hitting. Currently, if we're pool mining, our estimated earnings would be about 8.58 Kaspa per day. Currently, though, we've been averaging well above the 10.92, okay, which percentage-wise is a pretty good amount, okay? So you can see our daily payouts on the 19th, which was yesterday, 10.92. On the 18th, same amount, 17.16. And then there's days where, because, again, we were a little bit luckier on those days and it kind of added up, we actually had multiple payouts. So on the 15th, for example, we had 2 of the 10.92 payouts. Okay, on the 14th, the regular amount, 13th, 11.91. This one had a little bit more extra fees on it. The 12th, the regular payment. On the 11th, we also had a double payment. On the 10th, also a double payment. On the 9th, also a double payment. Okay, so overall, again, even if we were to just average out the 2 blocks per day, which so far we've been hitting, this is already looking extremely good, right? So is our luck going to run out? Are we being extremely lucky? Honestly, the data is looking more and more like this may be kind of the norm, okay? Things that will affect this, though, are, number one, the big thing is that this is based on the current hash rate. As Kaspa's price tends to pump, which these past few days, it's been doing extremely well, expect the hash rate to go up. Okay, so currently it hasn't gone up massively. It's only at 1.12. And a lot of it's just going to have to do with how Kaspa's price does, which has kind of been fluctuating. It's been fluctuating from like 10 cents to 12, 13 cents, right? And a lot of it just has to do with the current volatility. We'll see where it plays out overall, but this is definitely going to be one factor because, again, as Kaspa's price does go up, it's just people are going to be plugging in more, right? People are going to be plugging in their bigger units. And another big reason it's going to go up is because of the new units coming out, which there are quite a few. We do have both Bitmain's and iceriver's KS7 coming out here in the next coming weeks, right? The KS7 being the 30 terahash unit from iceriver, and then the Bitmain's version is 40 terahash, which is the more appealing one, also the more costly one. Okay, we also do have a KS7 Lite, which is a 4.2 terahash model at only $100. So, do I expect a massive increase? Honestly, probably not a whole lot, right? I do not see too many people buying these things at their current prices. Okay, the KS7 from iceriver got very outshined by the Bitmain unit, again, not being a whole lot more, price to terahash being honestly better because it's more efficient, but it's at $6,000. Okay, kind of the more appealing thing are the Bitmain KS5s, just because currently that 1249 shipped not that long ago, literally just a few weeks ago during the slump, they were under $1,000 shipped. Okay, just good again because of profitability, lack of interest, things going on. So because of this thing's price being so low, these price points honestly don't make sense, right? Like iceriver's unit being at $4,600 needs to go lower. Okay, so realistically, it's probably going to buy us a little bit of time before we get a massive increase, even if the price does go up, because realistically, I think the bigger threat is just going to be people plugging back in, right? Because again, we were at a peak of about 1.4. We're currently at 1.12, which is a pretty big drop still overall. Okay, but as far as these guys go, it seems more realistically that we're going to have a little pricing game. Just because, again, the iceriver's unit was announced prior to Bitmain's unit. Realistically, again, like we mentioned, the iceriver unit should come down in price. Okay, will they, won't they? We don't know. Maybe they're going to bank on Kaspa's price appreciating. We're going to have to wait and see. But overall, just expect if Kaspa's price levels off here, goes up, averages 12 to 15 cents, somewhere in that range here in the coming weeks, expect it to go up, right? So we're going to have to wait and see on that front. And again, if the hash rate does go up, what's going to happen, right? Most likely we're going to have more of this situation. But again, us being so far ahead of the average, because again, it's only been 2 weeks realistically, the month I think is going to be the better update. But currently as is, in these 2 weeks, we have mined about 244 Kaspa, when if we were pool mining, right, based on this average, we would have earned about 120. So currently we have earned double what we should have by solo mining throughout this time, right? So again, we're going to have to wait and see what the longer term average is, but as is, and talking to a lot of you guys, you're having similar luck with these smaller ones. It's going to depend on the situation. Obviously, if you have a KS0 Pro or KS0 Ultra, again, it's less hash rate in comparison to like this unit, for example, being at 2 terahash. Okay, so for this effort, these little mid-tier guys, these little 500 watters between the KS2 Lite and the KS7 Lite that's coming out, they seem like they're going to be primed for this, right? Just because, again, you're kind of in the middle of both worlds, okay? Because the KS2, even this KS2 Lite is the equivalent of about 5 of the KS0 Ultras, and then now this KS7 Lite is double the hash rate of this. So the benefit there is that, again, you're going to just increase your odds of continuing to hit those blocks. Because again, as the hash rate goes up, it's going to get more difficult. Okay, so this is going to be the real test, is that if we do go up, let's say back to the previous high, we're back up to 1.4, 1.5, which is going to happen, right? If Kaspa's price action goes up, it's just inevitably going to happen. We're going to have to wait to see if we're going to be able to continue to average these 2 blocks per day or not. Okay, and then on top of that, keep in mind the emissions reduction. So there's a lot of factors. So this isn't something to say like, oh yeah, go out and buy new units. It's more for any of you guys who have existing units. You might want to consider plugging in if you weren't already, right? Especially if you guys with KS0 Ultras, realistically. If you only had a couple units, one or a handful of units, you should have probably been plugged anyway, because again, for 100 watts, not that big of a deal. That's the key benefit with these little 100 watt things, is that you can be able to mine regardless of what's going on, right? 100 watts, you're not really going to feel. These more little mid-tier guys, though, being at 500 watts, it is a little bit trickier, right? Realistically, I would want it to be profitable. And now the reason why we're harping, why we want to hit the 2 blocks, is that because now it does make this guy profitable, right? Realistically, at my electric rate being at 14 cents, and if you guys who have it worse, probably better off buying Kaspa, right? Because if we were pull mining currently, you'd be losing about 80 cents a day, which isn't a ton, right? But considering something that's 500 watts and Kaspa being at about 10 cents, that's you're losing a Kaspa a day, right? Through the month, 240 Kaspa kind of adds up. Now with solo mining though, as is right now, we are profitable, right? Which the goal realistically is break even or better. Again, the way my son's playing it, the way I'm playing it, we're hodling. We're mining and hodling. So like I've mentioned before, whether this thing is making 10 cents a day or it's making $5 a day, borderline irrelevant, just because again, I'm just hodling all those coins anyway. It's not making a difference because I'm not selling to pay the electric. Where it does matter though is if we're not break even, if we are at a loss, and specifically at a significant loss. Again, if it's 5-10 cents, who cares? Nearing on $1 a day kind of does add up, right? So the fact that that's now making this guy profitable, that to me is what's interesting, right? And it's also the case with some of you guys with like the K0 Ultras and such. Again, 100 watts not that big of a deal. 500 watts could come up with better uses for that, right? But now that it's profitable, definitely is a game changer, right? Definitely makes it more appealing. Realistically, again, this is my son's. I'd be mining on it anyway. But if this were my own, I would have probably had it unplugged at this point. Okay, but again, it is breathing new life into it. And now at the end of the day, again, the argument is going to be, well, profitability, again, even at 17 cash, you're only making, what, $2.40 a day, right? It's a waste of time. It's all this. To an extent, right, it just depends on what you're doing. I'm not mining necessarily for profit. I'm mining to hodl, to sell during the potential peak, if and when it comes. Okay, everybody has their strategy. Everybody has their price point. For me personally, again, I'm very conservative with my numbers, and I still do think, even considering the climate, that a 40-cent Kaspa is extremely doable, right? At this point, only being a 4x from here. Now, is it going to be something that's going to be sustained? Are we going to be at 40-50 cents for a long period of time? Or is it going to be just one quick swoop? Maybe we average 15 to 20 cents, and then sometime during the blow-off top, it spikes up to 40-50 cents. Maybe, right? But regardless, I'm going to be dumping at that point anyway. Even if it just lasts for one day, I will be dumping a big chunk at 40 cents, at 50 cents, so on and so forth. Again, everybody's going to have their own exit strategy. But for me as a person who's mining and hodling, it doesn't matter if it just lasts a day or if it's a sustained uptrend at that point, just because, again, we're going to be selling at that point. That's kind of the one benefit you do have if you're hodling the coins. If you're a person who's waiting for profit, like, oh, I'm not going to be mining until, you know, Kaspa's at a big profit and I'm not going to be holding until then, it's going to be a rougher time. Because, like, for example, if you're doing the profit thing at this time, you're wasting your time. Right? At this point, to be selling all your coins to pay your electric to make 30-40 cents a day isn't worth it, right? But if you're hodling all these coins, you're paying the electric out of pocket, then it can make more sense, right? But again, everybody has their own strategy, has their own ways of doing it. Some people do it that way, and some people do just make those 30 cents or whatever. And again, that's their strategy. That's definitely not mine. I'm waiting for real prices to be selling. Again, that's why I'm not necessarily extremely worried with the current price action. When it was at a nickel, we're definitely buying though. But currently, as it is, I still have full confidence in my price point. Will it hit it? Won't it hit it? We don't know, but that's the risk I'm willing to take. Okay, and realistically, honestly expect it to do even quite a bit better. It's just going to depend on the other alts. What happens with Kaspa these coming months? How much speculation? Again, that's the biggest part of this. I know everybody's going to bitch and moan and complain like, oh, it's nothing but empty blocks. It's all this and it's all that. 99% of crypto is speculation, right? We're speculating on something, speculating on an update, speculating on development, speculating on listings, all that jazz. Again, to each their own. It depends on how you view all this stuff. That's the way I view it. Kaspa is a project that's near and dear to me just because it has been probably my best buy or best mine of all time, and I don't think anything's ever going to beat it, right? So this is one, again, we've been following for such a long time, and we're nearing the end of this thing, right? Hopefully sometime in the next 6 months, be able to finally profit take and take advantage of everything. But we'll keep you guys updated. We'll do another update probably in a couple of weeks just to hit that 1 month mark, unless something drastically changes. Like, let's say our average luck skyrockets and averages out 80-90% here in the coming week. Then we'll do an update, but we're going to have to wait and see. But let me know in the comments, though, guys, how are your guys doing? Specifically, your smaller guys. Some of the bigger guys, I've talked to a few of you guys, and it's been kind of hit or miss, right? Averaging a little bit better, but not like significantly better. At this point, we're like doubling what we normally would. So it does mean the advantage does seem to go to the smaller guys. But let me know in the comments, though, what are you guys saying? Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I am out.